is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Yes, folks, the time has come. It took pretty much a calendar month, but for the first time since May 7th, the New York Metropolitans have in fact won a series. How you doing, everybody? First chiming in live on a replay here on the WardyNYM platform. It's your boy Wardy, and we're here to break down the latest victory in Mets land as they take down the Washington Nationals in Game 2 of a 3-game set, this time by a final score of 6-3. In tonight's show, we're going to break down everything that transpired inning by inning. Our key takeaways, highlights, again, headlined by David Peterson doing a fantastic job on the bump today, giving the Mets 6.2 very strong innings. Harrison Bader continuing the birthday week the best way possible as he has been tearing the cover off the ball that we've seen of recent, including a big Bader bomb today. Star-studded Starling Marte is doing his part and then some. And this Mets bullpen, of course, while you had some shakiness in the ninth inning, because, of course, God forbid you're going to get a clean ninth inning from this Mets team. No less, the bullpen, headlined by guys like Daniel Nunez, got the job done, and a lot of positives to take away in this matchup, as again, the Mets win by a final score of 6-3. Everybody first chiming in, again, here live on YouTube. Happy to have you all here. If you guys are watching live on Twitter, thank you all so much as well. Make sure to hit that like button, that retweet button, that follow button. But no, as always, I will be only interacting with our live viewers that we have here on the YouTube platform. There's a reason why we are the #1 Mets platform, not directly affiliated with the Mets or SNY, the most consistent post-game show out there as well. It's all thanks to you amazing Mets fans. So as always, thank you guys so much. Also, shout out to my amazing sponsors, as always, at Silver MLB, the best MLB fantasy game out there. Again, free to play by clicking the link down below to sign up today. And as well with BetUS, America's #1 sportsbook. Check them out today to get a 125% bonus on not your first, not your second, but your first 3 deposits, all for all your sports betting needs down below. Links available for you all, everybody. But how we doing, folks? Again, a nice victory. Not too stressful. I honestly don't remember the last time where, yes, I understand the Mets didn't have a pretty ninth inning today, but truthfully, my stress level wasn't nearly as high as it has been in other ninth innings of recent over the past calendar month. The Mets did what they need to do. They won a series, even though it wasn't a pretty manner, even though the past 2 days they have tried everything that they can to a degree to blow these opportunities. Thankfully, the Mets get in the win column for 2 consecutive days, are now 1 win behind the Washington Nationals right now in the standings. And yes, it's crazy to say, but for a Mets team that is now 9 games below 500, they are far from out of it in the playoff race. They're currently sitting right around 3 games or so out of a spot. It was 3.5 yesterday. I'd imagine that they moved up by at least a half game today, or at least they're staying put at 3.5. All I know is this is such a whirlwind of a start to a season for a Mets team that's been in a depleted National League where a lot of teams have been so underwhelming, which has kept a Mets team, again, 9 games under right now, still afloat and still very much in the thick of things, pushing for a playoff spot. A lot to get into and more. As always, folks, thank you all so much. Alonso, of course, did have that big bomb. Yes, we'll get into that. Alonso with a nice insurance run there to cap off, to finish off things in the 9th inning, which was very much so needed for this Mets team because we can use as much insurance as humanly possible, folks. But we have a lot to get into, a lot to break down, but let's get things rolling with the official WardyNYM post-game jingle. Shout out to my guys, Greg and Jordan, as always, with the post-game jingle coming at you after every victory this season, folks. And we're about to break down again everything that transpired inning by inning in this one. And again, I thank you all so much, everybody, first chiming in. If I didn't say it already, spam those W's, folks. We might be 9 games under, but hey, we still got a lot of baseball to be had. We have a lot of key decisions to be made about this team over the next coming weeks here. And we do have some key updates to get into on guys like Francisco Alvarez, Edwin Diaz, and others as they are working their way back to the Metropolitan team. But before we get into anything else, everybody, for people watching live here on YouTube and for people watching on replay on YouTube as well, spam those W's in the live chat in the comments down below. Oh, does it feel good for the Mets to finally, and I truly mean finally, get a series victory for the first time in pretty much a calendar month, folks. It has been since May 7th when the Mets matched up against the St. Louis Cardinals and took the first two there, and then game 3 of that series, which I believe was in St. Louis, got rained out. They pushed that till the end of season or whenever the Mets play the Cardinals next, but this was a massive series victory for a Mets team that again has been oh so close to securing how many series victories it feels like that we have seen over the past calendar month, and they have struggled oh so mightily to do so for a Mets team that since May 1st has blown at least 7 games with the lead after the 7th inning. So the Mets that again have been doing everything humanly possible to blow all great opportunities to finally get wins, to be right around if not above 500, because that's where the Mets would be, folks, if they didn't blow the saves that they had blown this season. The Mets have blown, I'm pretty sure that they have blown a total of around 9 or so this year alone after leading past the 7th or 8th inning. And again, if you do the math, that would have them a game above 500 or at least right around even kill there at 500 on the season. So it is what it is now, but it would be nice to see the Mets trying to find some consistency in their bullpen, and hopefully that kicks off, starting tomorrow, because we saw a little bit of it today. Again, wasn't pretty. Garrett again gave us some frustration there, but not too much for us to break more of a sweat than what we have done in recent days trying to see the Mets secure a W. All right, folks, before we get rolling here, just want to make sure we are all set up properly. Again, thank you all so much for taking the time. It really does mean a lot, folks. Again, big headline today, the Mets get their series victory. Jeff McNeil's role the last 2 games, yep, it has been working out for sure. We'll get into Jeff, because especially with another victory without Jeff McNeil in the lineup, the Mets face yet another southpaw tomorrow, that being this time a Mr. Patrick Corbin, again, the veteran lefty that we know. Is Jeff McNeil going to ride the pine once again for a 3rd consecutive game and the 4th time straight against left-handed pitching for a McNeil that has done historically very well against left-handed pitching? Or are the Mets going to give McNeil the game tomorrow, knowing that they've already won the series, and seeing if Jeff can kind of get out of the funk that he has been in for a prolonged period of time? All I know is if it ain't broke, why fix it? So for that reason, I hope to see Jose Iglesias back in the lineup tomorrow for hopefully a series sweep. And then Jeff McNeil, when he returns, it can be either one of the games in London or what have you. I know it might not be the most ideal thing for a Mets team that still wants to probably try to get some trade value, if anything, for McNeil that they know they will part ways with either by the deadline or certainly the offseason. So ideally, you don't want to have the guy riding the bench for, say, a week straight, but it's kind of looking more and more along those lines. Has to be played at least 3 times. It's good luck for the Mets. Good. We can't. It's not good luck for the Mets. We're just finding reasons to call it good luck. Let's be frank here. But I will say this. If the jingle accidentally runs at any point in the future here in the show without me knowing, you guys can feel free to let me know after it fully plays, and then you can be like, got you, Wardy, so we can at least have that. But guys, let's break it down. I have a lot to say here. Very excited to get into on the ball game, anybody, and how impressed I am with not only what we saw from Harrison Bader, Starling Marte, many aspects of the pitching, headlined by David Pearson, as we will get into my nightly pitcher report presented from my good friend and pitching contributor on the channel every single night, my man Isaac Groffman. Make sure to check him out on Twitter if you haven't already. Thoughts on Alonso? I will share plenty about on Alonso as we get to it towards the end of not towards the end of the show, but once we're in the actual part of recapping everything, I will certainly do that, folks. But everybody, before we break down further aspects of the ball game and everything that you guys and gals need to know, let's take a quick word from one of our amazing sponsors on the channel, folks, because once again, the Wardy picks are staying hot. I'm not telling you guys to tail every single pick I do. Of course, bet responsibly, bet at your own pace, at your own risk, of course, but our great friends at BetUS, America's #1 sportsbook, we have been absolutely hammering. We went 3 for 3 this past weekend with our UFC 302 picks, and we went again 2 for 2 today, as I have all the Yankees and the Orioles parlay today, and the Yanks, of course, are the Yanks. They've been playing great baseball. The O's have been playing fantastic baseball as well. A lot of teams in the AL, and especially the AL East, have been balling out as of late, folks. And as we take a look briefly here at the upcoming lines, I'm going to show you guys some picks that I like for tomorrow, 1, and 2, the big giveaway that we're doing, everybody. In case you don't know about it already, already, we are giving away a Mets jersey of any player actively on the roster at the moment to one lucky winner. And all you guys need to do for your chance to enter our jersey giveaway is 2 simple steps. It is 1, signing up to BetUS when you guys get the chance by clicking the link in the description today, signing up, and all you gotta do for your second step is place one singular bet. That's it. As soon as you do that, send me a screenshot to my email, which is available in the description of the live show here on Twitter. It is draw, DRAWT7 at protonmail.com. Again, draw, DRAWT7 at protonmail.com. Send me a screenshot of you showing proof that you have a BetUS account and that you at least placed one bet, and you were automatically entered for your chance to win. I will be announcing a random winner a week or so from now on the channel. And again, guys, there's only going to be a select few of you that go out of your way to do this and to do the lengths of sending me that screenshot over email. So there's a great chance, folks, that you might be a lucky winner for your chance to win, say, out of anywhere from 20, 30, 40, 50 people, which is nothing in comparison to odds if we did a full channel giveaway where everyone that was publicly subscribed had a chance. We know how much more difficult that is odds-wise and to give that away. So I just want to incentivize you guys a little bit here. If you haven't gotten in on the action with our great friends at BetUS already, and we're giving away an awesome Mets jersey and doing so. Any player you want that's currently on the roster, your boy Wardy is going to hook you up. So make sure you guys sign up today. And secondly, as we take a look at the slate of games tomorrow, we do have the New York Metropolitans as the money line favorite. Of course, the Mets today, I didn't bet on them simply because Trevor Williams was expected to be the starter. Former Met, now foe. He was placed on the injured list prior to today's game, however. Tomorrow, we got Luis Severino on the bump against Patrick Corbin. I, for once, am going to show a sliver of Mets bias, and I'm going to actually hammer here the Mets money line in this one. Either that or the Nationals spread. I don't hate either for the Mets to, to win by a run or so, and the Nationals make sure that they don't lose by 2. But I'm actually going to take the Mets with Sevy versus Corbin. I love that matchup for the Mets pitching-wise tomorrow. You look at the other games currently going on, Yanks, Twins. It's so hard not to want to go back-to-back with the Yanks, of course, with the way that they've been playing. Braves, Red Sox, that's a favorable matchup with the Braves actually as the money line underdog. I'm sure that's based on the pitching matchup. I'm actually going to just go straight here with the Mets on my pick. This is probably, I want to say, maybe the 3rd or 4th time that I've hammered a Mets bet straight this season. It's been very little because even though that I am a Mets fan, I try not to be overwhelmingly biased with my picks because I know that's how you lose money and fast. But on this bet, I'm going to put 20 down, which wins me 14. So I'm actually going to put 35 down to win me 25. Again, good luck to everybody that tails the Mets money line outright to win tomorrow. And as well, make sure you sign up with our great friends today. Get involved with the jersey giveaway if you haven't already. It's so simple to sign up, everybody, and place a bet, and then send me a screenshot to my email, and you're automatically entered for your chance to win. Good luck, folks, and as always, let's go Mets, baby. Now let's hop back into this one. Let's break down the ball game, shall we? Charles says, I'm going to a Mets game later this month. That's awesome, my man. Congrats. Lindor, 21 hits in his last 14 games. It's almost like Lindor in the leadoff spot has been absolutely brilliant now that we've seen. I'm so happy to see it. Where did I get the hat? I actually got this hat, funny enough, at King of Prussia Mall outside of Philly. If you guys know where King of Prussia is in Pennsylvania, that's where I got this hat. I want to say 2 years ago now, a year and a half, 2 years ago. Had it for a little bit. I don't wear it too often, but I do like it a lot. Love the colorway as well. Got Chase Stadium on the side of the hat too. You cannot go wrong. The same way we're not going to go wrong now as we break down this ball game inning by inning. So let's deep dive and get right into this. And in case you guys are new, I wonder what we do here with our post-game segments. I break down everything in inning by inning. We get into specific numbers here from the pitching on the offense, and I break down further numbers there through Baseball Savant and the pitching report from my great pitching contributor, Isaac Rothman, on the channel. Then we'll get into another ad read with our great friends at Sir MLB. I'll take whatever questions you got for me, and that'll probably wrap it for the show. We won't be too long-winded today. I'm sure we'll wrap this one up by absolute latest 45 to 50 minute mark, if not sooner. But again, appreciate everybody that's been taking the time to chime in, as always. All right. In the top of the first, Francisco Lindor, again, pardon me, everybody, continuing to get on base at a great clip since being in that leadoff spot. Of course, I just went out of focus there on the camera. Let's see if I can get the camera focus here. Give me 1 second. So close. We are so close yet so far. Come on. Hold on, everybody. This happens literally feels like every other day that I do content. Give me 1 sec. There we go. Okay. Francisco Lindor with a double in the first. Unfortunately, the Mets were not able to score him there, but nice to see Mr. Lindor continue the gap-to-gap ability, his 14th double of the season. Then after that, we see David Peterson work a fine inning there in the first. Again, clean early work there for David Peterson and the Mets. We would see a hit by pitch there to Lane Thomas, but that's all she wrote there. It would be a Joey Meneses double play afterwards. And again, nothing else transpires there for the Mets or the Nationals. In the second, the Mets go down in order, as do the Nationals. David Peterson, 3 up, 3 down in the second, working a couple groundouts and striking out Mets killer Jesse Winker, has been having a very nice series at this point. Let's see, does Priest not show up when the Mets almost play like a real team? Scott, yes. And I hope Priest on a Plane watches this. If you guys don't know, Priest on a Plane is a daily follower in the post-game segments, has been all season long. Huge Lindor hate. He doesn't hate Lindor, but he rags on him every single time he gets an opportunity to, for sure. In the top of the third, we see the Metropolitans kick off some things, at least they attempt to here, with Tomas Nido recording a single, Lindor with the single, then Brandon Nimmo with a walk, so bases loaded, 2 out there for JD Martinez, who unfortunately freezes on an 0-2 count to end the inning. Very frustrating there. The Mets had early offensive opportunity here and could not convert. JDM doing his best, backup catcher impression that we saw yesterday for the Nationals. I'm already forgetting the schmuck's name, but he was on an 0-2 count and took a heater right down the pipe by Diekman for strike 3, which ended the ball game. And JDM essentially did the exact same thing in an 0-2 count today. Took again, it was a fastball right on the bottom there of the zone, but still a pitcher swinging at every single day of the week. JD must have not saw it well out of the hand. That's why he froze. That's why he didn't take the bat off the shoulders, really. And the Mets go down from there. Strand the bases loaded with 2 outs in the third. Then, as we see, in the bottom of the third, we get another clean inning there from Mr. David Pearson. He does give up a walk to Jacob Young and a single to CJ Abrams, who's been off to a great start this season when healthy. CJ playing fantastic baseball, just returned from injury too. However, they still go down from there, thankfully, so another clean inning there for David Pearson. On the top of the fourth, Starling Marte with a walk. He then gets his second base on a wild pitch, and Harrison Bader, who drove in 2 runs yesterday, both via RBI sac flies on his birthday, lets the belated birthday hot streak continue, this time with a no-doubt 2-run ding-dong, gives the Mets a 2-0 lead. Harrison Bader with a nice bomb there for the Mets, just his 3rd home run of the season, got all of that one, gives the Mets a 2-0 lead here in the 4th inning. Of course, David Pearson works another clean inning in the bottom of the 4th, this time a 1-2-3, as he would strike out 1 and have a fly out and a line out, so gain outs in every creative way imaginable there. And the top of the 5th then for the Mets, we see Pete Alonso with an infield single, Brandon Nimmo with the single. The reliever comes in then for the rookie on the Nationals, had his first start today and honestly was not terrible. And Hers comes in and has 4 innings of 7 hit, 4 earned run ball, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. And the reason why the 2 runs go from 2 to 4 is because Starling Marte makes the reliever pay with a bases clearing triple that drives in an additional 2 runs for the Mets, and they would again take a 4-0 lead. Afterwards, Mark Vientos says, I want to get involved in the action. Marky V, as we know, who has been oh so productive every single time he has been out there for the Mets. He has not only looked sharper defensively by the day, in which he had a fantastic play, as you guys see in the highlights right there. After review, the runner was deemed out, Nick Senzel at first base. Great play, great throw, and great reach by Alonso there on that entire sequence. Mark Vientos drives in the Mets' 5th run of the day with an RBI sac fly, and I know that might not seem like much, everybody. My transitions are seamless. I try. This is what happens when you talk rapidly every single day for over 3 years, the way that I've been on the channel. And you find ways to try to transition so seamless from one thing to the other, and it's a lot of fun with the wordplay too. I get a thorough enjoyment out of doing that, but I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. Scott, I'll get to your questions here soon. Finally, indeed, Sean MD, longtime follower, how you doing? Happy to have you in here. But something that really stands out to me here, folks, as again, we would see Mark Vientos drive in that run. How many times did the Mets fail to have competent RBI sac flies going back to the 2021 and 2022 season, right? It felt like it was oh so difficult for a Mets team, especially small ball at the time, to lift the ball in the air and to drive runners in from third with less than 2 outs. Thankfully, having a competent power hitter at at third base, and Mark Vientos, that has been far from a problem. Even Harrison Bader, who's not known for his power, was oh so productive yesterday with doing exactly that. So I love to see that production. Mark Vientos has been getting on base, it feels like every single game for the most part. Vientos, we talked about yesterday how a real question I have for you Mets fans, with his roaring hot start, again, taking away third base with ease over Beatty at the moment with his overall and included heavily offensive game, could Mark Vientos actually be a potential franchise option for the Mets at third base, where we look at him as our go-to guy for not only the remainder of the season, but 2025 and beyond? Should he continue to stay hot and be productive as consistently as he's been, even when we know he's going to dip off and go through his cold streaks, I would argue that Mark Vientos has all the tools to be a guy the Mets want to keep and potentially build around, which makes for a greater discussion not only on his future stay at the hot corner, but just in the organization in itself when viewing a guy like Pete Alonso and a walk year, and Mark Vientos gives you the power and the rate you're looking for. Mark Vientos can play first base. So again, it's another factor, another thing to throw into all the different factors evaluating Pete Alonso and his future as well. Again, am I saying get rid of Pete? No, I'm not saying that whatsoever. All I'm saying is Mark Vientos thriving creates better questions for David Stearns and the Mets front brass to answer. So something to ponder and think about as he continues this great play right now. But Mark Vientos makes it a 5-0 ball game as we then get to the bottom of the fifth after the Mets take a 5-0 lead in this one. And we see Jesse Winker get on base via a single. We see Jacob Young then drive him in with the single opposite field. And that's all she wrote, though. It's a 5-1 ball game. David Pearson, who's barely thrown any pitches through 5, you love to see it. In the 6th, we see Jose Iglesias, Nido, and Lindor go down in order. And the bottom of the 6th, this is where the Mets, thankfully, again, wouldn't have too much trouble because we see a Joey Meneses walk. And then, again, after it was reviewed, we would see Nick Senzel grounds out for his second out on the great play by Vientos. And another ground out by Vargas. David Pearson's through 6 innings of 1 earned run ball. In the 7th, then, we see JD Martinez continue the hit streak, folks. JDM now with 9 consecutive games with the single. Prior to that, though, Brandon Nimmo had the first hit of the inning, so back-to-back hits for both Nimmo and JDM. 2 on, less than 2 out. Brandon Nimmo will then go on to steal third base, his 5th stolen base of the season, but a Starling Marte unfortunate double play ends the inning. And as we head to the bottom of the 7th, Jesse Winker gets on yet again, this time via a hit by pitch for a second time today, if I'm not mistaken. Jesse Winker then goes on to steal second base, and Joey Gallo drives him in on a fluke single that gets by Alonso, that hits off the glove of Iglesias there. An unfortunate one makes it 5-2. Jacob Young with another hit, another opposite field single, has multiple runners on here, and this is where Danil Nunez comes in for David Pearson, and Nunez strikes out Lane Thomas on 3 pitches on an up-high fastball, and that is what you love to see from Danil. As we would then advance to the 8th inning, Mark Vientos and Harrison Bader, you get an infield single down the third baseline. You get an infield single down the third baseline. These guys were like, I'm going to copy you. That's exactly what they did, which was hilarious. Both of them get on base the same exact way. Unfortunately, a Jose Iglesias force out afterwards. Then we see DJ Stewart comes in as a pinch hitter for Tomas Nido. DJ grounds into a double play, so not the type of production that you're hoping for off the bench there, a move that I'm sure Carlos Mendoza would like to have back, with the way that Nido's been competently swinging the bat as well. I can't sit here and say that, oh my goodness, Nido has been this massive offensive liability. Far from it. You know, he has not been a glaring hole there, all things considered, since he has been called up. DJ over Nido, yes, you heard that, Scott. And again, I've liked DJ Stewart plenty, but he definitely has cooled down a little bit, that we have seen since riding the pine more often than not, since Mark Vientos has gotten more consistent reps, JDM as well, and everything. And with the way JD's been swinging the bat, again, 9 straight games with a hit now, JDM is certainly doing his job. Only question I have about Vientos is, why the hell did they keep sending him down? It was because of, again, having faith in Beatty, Vientos not having faith defensively. He had a lot to work on there, and everything that really kind of transpired in between. You know, there was a butting of heads between Vientos' playing time because of Vogelback last year, and this had to do with all, you know, Billy Epler, of course, and that being a Buck Showalter. This season, it was more so Vientos just didn't prove enough with the glove yet. Beatty certainly did. He played a Gold Glove caliber defense at the hot corner. but his bat is what's propelled him. And now Vientos' bat is so productive and so consistent that even if he does have some defensive miscues or hiccups, it really doesn't warrant him being out of the lineup because his bat has still been a difference maker. And that in itself has been fantastic to see. Let me just adjust ever so briefly. That way I look a little bit better than how I was. Awesome. Okay, everybody. Disgraceful that DJ Stewart has played any regularity. He's worse than Darren Ruff. I disagree there. DJ Stewart is definitely an upgrade over Darren Ruff. I understand it's a low bar. I do respectfully disagree on that one. I'm just here to see the toxic positivity in the chat, says Priest, so he is alive and well. Trust me when I say that just because the Mets won a series, I don't expect them to go and win a World Series. But what I do know is that exactly like this, every game counts in the month of June. These are all factors as to why the Mets are not going to fully commit to anything just yet with how the playoff configuration is. Again, you guys might hate that thought, but it's a reality. When you're only a couple of games out of a wild card spot right now, the Mets are going to do far from a complete blow up this early on into the month of June. I'm not saying it won't happen, say, by the deadline, but we're not there yet, and these are the reasons as to why. Let's go. You see, now we got Priest talking about play. No one said that, Priest. No one said that. That's what I mean. Anyone that rationally thinks that a series victory over the Nationals warrants the Mets for sure to make playoffs isn't paying attention either. So both things can be true at the same time. And you know what can also be true? The Mets getting insurance runs. And they got insurance runs, thankfully, after Danil Nunez 1-2-3 masterful 8th inning for the Mets, which we love to see there. Takes down Meneses, Senzel, and Vargas. And then we see Pete Alonso rip a no-doubt ding-dong, his farthest home run he has hit since August of 2023. Alonso's 14th home run, this time to left, and also has around 14 home runs in his career in Nationals Ballpark in DC, continues to add on to the Mets lead as they will now have a lead in ultimate victory of a final score of 6-2. Reed Garrett would get in a little bit of a bind thanks to a Jesse Winker walk, and then we would see Winker advance to second on defensive indifference. Jacob Young with an RBI single opposite field because of course he does to make it 6-3. CJ Abram with the walk, but Lane Thomas, who has struggled mightily this season after dominating all of what felt like last year for the Nationals, he flies out to end the inning. And again, the Mets win this one by a final score of 6-3. So everybody, again, first chopping it live on a replay. Happy to have you all in here. I would first love to hear everybody, what is your biggest takeaway from today's victory for the Mets? And my take on Pete Alonso, Roy, because I know you're asking, and a lot of people are, it was nice to see Pete Alonso rip the home run he did today. I'm still very frustrated with Alonso's approach. He just continues to struggle so mightily with consistency. This was yet another day where you saw a lot of Mets batters seeing pitches beautifully against this left-hander that was a rookie on the bump for the Nationals today. But to Pete Alonso, again, that quite literally is Randy Johnson with the way it fell. So for Pete, the frustrations continue even in a day where you hit a home run. And I will preface that the home run was impressive because he hit it against a very solid reliever and Kyle Finnegan, who's not only off to a roaring start this season, but has had the Mets number, it feels like, for the past 3.5, 4 years now. We all remember Kyle Finnegan. He's been in a lot of high-leverage situations for the Nationals, really since they started to blow it up with Max Scherzer and everyone in between there. But no less, a nice home run for Alonso. Still did not like his approach leading up to the 9th inning. We need to see more consistency in Alonso's game because we know with Francisco Alvarez set to return a week from now, all it takes is an Alonso, a Lindor, a JDM, and Alvarez, a Vientos to just play, even not to their best capability, but to just play, say, 75-80% of their game. If they do that at any stretch together, the Mets will have one of the bigger bopping lineups in all the National League. And this is not me exaggerating. This is not me talking down to my ass. This is just common sense if you look at the talent level on this team and know their power ability, especially when they are right. The big problem, and this goes directly in hand, why a guy like Alonso needs to ball out this season, not only for himself and his respective future, but also his future to stay in Queens should the Mets have an interest level there, is because we need to see Alonso be able to kick things up with the clutch gene. Add insurance more so when the Mets need it versus, say, in a situation where, again, I'm not complaining ever, no matter what type of aspect of the ball game it is. Any type of home run is an important home run. Even when you're down by a boatload of runs, those runs still count at the end of the day. Especially if, say, a late game rally happens and, say, Pete Alonso's leadoff home run in the 8th inning is what kickstarts it, right? So I think those things are important. But what's also important is to find consistency and to not have these glaring stretches where Alonso just looks so lost at the plate for a guy that is not far removed from having a 2022 season where, similarly to Jeff McNeil, was playing, in my opinion, the best baseball of his career. Pete Alonso did so many things right in the 2022 season, did so many things wrong in 2023, which is crazy to say when you look at his final season numbers. But still, when you understand the context of Alonso and his lack of consistency with the strike zone, in the heart of the plate, everything that, again, you are seeing from these pitchers, I just want to see Pete find some consistency, because if not, we have a great problem. All it takes is for our players to play well. Great take, Wardy. Is it wrong for me to want the players to play well? Enlighten me. Can't believe I'm saying it, but McNeil has passed Lindor on my shit list. The bar's low on that one too, for you at least. And speaking of Jeff McNeil, folks, I have plenty to say on Jeff. We all do. And let me get back into focus here briefly, everybody. I don't know where we are in the like count either, but if you guys could continue smashing that like and subscribe button for your boy, be greatly appreciated. Help us get to say around 100 likes by the end of the live show. Thank you all so much in advance. But give me one more second, folks, as I try to get this damn thing focused. Of course, it's going to take as long as it wants. Come on. Okay, awesome. All right, everybody. A couple things I want to share with you all before we get on to the pitching, some more on the offense. Key updates. Francisco Alvarez, if I didn't mention already, received and called a combined no-hitter today for the Brooklyn Cyclones. Yes, you heard that correctly. Alvarez got the start today in Brooklyn for the Mets as he continues his rehab stint, which makes a lot of sense as well to promote him in Brooklyn. The Mets are going to get a good financial turnout there versus what they would get in Binghamton, because the Mets own a certain amount of facilities connected in the minors, but there is a difference between the Rummel Ponies, I believe, and say the Cyclones. So they're naturally going to profit during this rehab stint for Alvarez, and Alvarez catches a combined no-hitter for the Mets in Brooklyn today for the Cyclones. So awesome stuff for Alvarez, who looks locked and loaded, ready to go. He will be returning to the Mets as soon as possible. We're looking at right around a week away. Alvarez is expected to return probably around June 11th or so. So very, very close. Cannot wait to see Alvy back. Oh, baby. Very, very excited to see him back, not only in the lineup, but catching ball games consistently for the Mets. And Edwin Diaz, who, of course, has been on the 15-day IL with a shoulder impingement. Edwin Diaz today, according to Carlos Mendoza, threw a 21-pitch bullpen and said there's a good chance he could begin a rehab appearance in the minor leagues starting this Thursday. So that's the latest updates on the health front for two very important players for the Mets right now, and both Edwin Diaz and, yes, Francisco Alvarez. All right, everybody, let's now transition into some key numbers to throw at you, some key breakdown on the pitching front, everybody. Because when I tell you the Mets had a lot of good pitching today, they really did have a lot of good pitching. It's all thanks to David Pearson. This was a start that you'll love to see for David Pearson, and hopefully can continue to build that confidence for him as an effective pitcher in either the Mets rotation, six-man rotation, and the bullpen later this year. Whatever they need to do is fine by me. But in the meantime, just continue to get David Pearson to pitch right the way he certainly did tonight. As we see here from David, his arsenal today was as follows. The sinker was 44% of the time, slide piece 32% of the time, changeup 11% of the time, curveball 7% of the time, and four-seam fastball, everybody. This is the difference. Just 5% of the time. A David Pearson fastball that has been flat in the past, he utilized the least out of his 5-pitch mix today. Something to make a note of there. He is slowly transforming into a ground ball artist that we have seen after being hurt by walks when he was going for strikeouts last year. As we know, David Pearson can strike out guys, especially with that slider, whether it's a back foot slider or however he goes about it based on righty or lefty configuration. He has got a nice swing and misses, but the issue with David Pearson is that if he doesn't get the swing and misses, he, one, leaves too much over the heart of the zone, and secondly, has himself walking everyone their mother a little bit too much for a Mets team that needs everything but that exactly. And for the Mets here to get the kind of production that they got out of David Pearson today was absolutely vital. So to see more about his arsenal today, working those ground outs again, trying to be a true ground ball pitcher as the lefty, looked fantastic. He was greatly reducing his four-seam usage today that we saw. He used 27% of the time last year, but just a measly 5% of the time tonight. Obviously, Pearson's going to fluctuate with his four-seam usage throughout the course of the season, but a start like this kind of validates and proves why he should keep that more so in his back pocket, but all the way deep in that back pocket, and not his first, say, 2, 3, or even 4 pitch to try to select on a certain start out there. You know, he's using that sinker as his main pitch now. He generates a ton of ground balls at around 80 ground ball percentage so far this year, which is fantastic. The slider's back to the 2022 shape, which is huge because he had a lot of success with it at the time, as generating a ton of silly swings, including a just hilarious one when a hitter loses his bat on a swing against Jesse Winker that we saw in this matchup. The slider was at a 40% whiff rate tonight. So yes, even though David Pearson only had 2 strikeouts, doesn't change the fact that he did have a good amount of swing and miss. You know, he used his curve and his changeup as nice complementary pitches today, and that curve to steal strikes especially had just under a 67% zone percentage tonight, and he can generate whiffs on his changeup as well. Pearson is now a ground ball pitcher, basically, that we know, and he relies heavily on that sinker and slider. Basically, something that Adrian Hauser wishes that he could do consistently as a starter. I know he's long overdue for this change, and to have that sinker-slider combo is something that we know is an aspect to David Stearns as a front office helm at the GM, at the Pobo level, that he has loved with a lot of relievers in his bullpen and certainly with the starters. I mean, let's just go back to the offseason for a minute. A lot of the pickups that we saw David Stearns did was for guys that, again, had nasty splitties, had nice slide pieces, a lot of different variations of their sliders there, and sinkers, of course, to induce those ground ball outs. David Pearson today, with the type of quality outing that he had, I am going to give him a very rock-solid 7.5 out of 10 on my rating today. Very close to an 8 for me. My man Isaac has him at an 8 out of 10. So to everybody watching the live show right now, let me know. For people on replay, same applies down below in the comments. 1 to 10, where do you rate David Pearson's outing today? Because I thought it was nothing short of brilliant. Truly. Fantastic stuff from David. Love to see a lefty working the way he did today, making these batters look silly and picking those corners as sharply as he did. Danil Nunez, again, was dominant as a surprise. Absolutely nobody, if you guys have been paying attention to Danil Nunez since he's been called up for the first time this season by the Mets. He was dominant once again with that high backspin fastball and that beautiful slider. And, of course, guys, if you haven't already, you can check out my man Isaac Rothman on Twitter that I'll actually show you here in a second, to check out his thread on Danil Nunez here. And that is a shameless plug that he put in his little description for me, but I'll give that to him because, again, fantastic job Isaac does by breaking down the numbers for me as I'm getting everything set up for the show each night. He makes sure I have some numbers thrown at me that maybe I wouldn't know with the eye test, or if I didn't get the chance to thoroughly deep dive through Baseball Savant prior to kicking off the show. So we always appreciate you, Isaac. Thank you, brother. Reed Garrett, of course, had the splitter today and had a different shape than his last couple outings, with more arm side run on it and a little bit less drop, which again I think went in hand with why he wasn't as sharp as he'd like to be. Also very interesting to see that he got his Ks on his fastball today, which again is something that we know has been the opposite of him throughout his career. So I'm not in favor of Reed Garrett getting strikeouts on the here today, but it was effective for him. You know, he did get burned a little bit later on, though, that we saw there. So for Reed Garrett, I'm not a lover of the fastball. I think he lucked out a little bit today, and we know that when he's right, it's when that splitty is getting the swing and miss, along with the slider the way that he is, because he struck out the side in his last outing a couple days ago. But Reed Garrett, who's had to pitch a lot of innings in a short period of time for the Mets, what's been a depleted bullpen this season with their lack of depth, their lack of ability to go deep with their starters, Reed Garrett, all things considered, has been a blessing in this Mets bullpen, but yet again had a far from dominant outing that I would see. You know, he's had one good inning over his past, what feels like good stretch of games throughout the past month. And it's not all Reed Garrett to blame, but also something to bear in mind. This can happen when you burn out your relievers because you can't get length the way that guys outside of David Pearson have surely not provided for the Mets for a good portion of the season. Reed Garrett for the All-Star team says standards. Absolutely love that, brother. Going 6.2, having been called on all year and given 2 runs is great. Give me that every night. Absolutely amazing vintage. Hope you're doing fantastic. What a great guy. Amazing vintage is, guys. If you guys don't know, make sure to follow him on Instagram. He not only has the flies Mets fits available. When I'm talking about availability, I'm saying he's went out of his way to find insane Mets outfits. We're talking from the 80s and the 90s and just looking sharp as hell, like an absolute beauty. How you doing, Jared? Happy to have you in here. And also does fantastic community work in the area, Mets things related and not, and just a tremendous human being who does also Instagram lives regarding, his things that he wears as a Mets fan and just his Mets fandom as a whole. Make sure to check out my boy. What a beauty he is. The same way that I want you guys actually to check out real quick my man Isaac Rothman, in case you haven't already, because as you guys and gals can see here on Twitter right now, and then from there we will actually transition into our next quick ad read with our amazing sponsor, Sora MLB. As you guys can see right here, here is the Danil Nunez latest thread. This came out just 2 days ago from my man Isaac, and a nice thorough breakdown here. And honestly, let's just roll the punches. Let me just show you guys quick. Again, these are kind of things that you can expect because Isaac is going to be contributing plenty on the channel in various ways as we continue to grow here on the platform. And, this was, again, just a couple days ago. The ERA has dropped since then. It's around 2.3. Again, ERA plus just a couple days ago of over 130, which is 30% plus above league average for the 27-year-old. He's got that heater that we know that tops out 99 and that nasty dropping slider there. There's some more advanced metrics to kind of show you the full breakdown on his pitches there and how they rate. Talking about his arm angle a bit here as well from Danil Nunez, the slide piece as well, what makes it work so well with the spiked grip, the sink piece, and everything else you need to know about Danil Nunez. So check out my man Isaac. As always, what a beauty he is. Love the pitching threads, especially in a season where there hasn't been a lot of things to look forward to as Mets fans. That has certainly been one of them. So that is one of those things that we will greatly appreciate and continue to appreciate. Let's see here in the chat, everybody. There's no angle to argue McNeil contributes to wins more than Lindor. Arguing so is just patently false. You want to rearrange chairs on the Titanic. This whole team is sinking. I'll say this. So, again, comparing McNeil and Lindor is apples and oranges. They're simply not the same. No matter how much shit talk you want to have, Priest. You could say whatever you want, but there's a reason why you'll be the only one saying it. All right, guys. A couple more things I actually want to break down with you all. But before I do, let's take a quick word from today's video sponsor. As always, our great friends on the channel. If you guys don't know already, our great friends, of course, at Sora MLB. And in case you guys and gals do not know Sora MLB, you should now. They have been awesome. They've been a tremendous sponsor on the channel. We've been talking about the plenty every single day. But if you guys like playing MLB The Show, being your own GM, saying a video game format, but you like playing fantasy baseball, meet Sora MLB, because that is exactly what this is, folks. And we're doing awesome giveaways on the channel yet again very soon here with Sora MLB for your chance to get involved for sweepstakes to the All-Star Game and everything that entails. We will be announcing that a week or so from now. But in the meantime, make sure you guys get in on the action with Sora MLB. You can sign up today, draft your team. You enter weekly tournaments with unique cards that, again, you can buy, sell, and trade on the marketplace for real dollars on demand. You can upgrade your cards to make your team better than what it currently is when you draft it for free. And you can work from there, enter tournaments to varying degrees. And how you do in these tournaments each week, you can enter on Mondays and Fridays, and is based indicative on how the players perform in real life. So if you guys had Zach Wheeler and Tyler Glasnow like I do on my team right now, you got some nice turnout from your pitchers. And I'm going to show you guys how well I'm currently doing in my tournaments at the moment, because I'm doing great in both of them right now early on. And if you guys do well in these tournaments, you win cash prizes, hundreds if not thousands of dollars. We even have a big giveaway coming out soon that, again, we're talking thousands of dollars for the #1 winner to get in the tournament. All you guys got to do is to check them out today by clicking the link down below, as always. And again, shout out to our great friends at Sora MLB. And I am currently entered in 2 different tournaments, one of which is with a team that, again, you don't have to spend a dime on to build. Zach Wheeler, Edwin Diaz, Gunnar Henderson, Ali Rutschman, Brandon Nimmo, Joey Ortiz, and Tyler Glasnow. If it wasn't for Edwin Diaz being on the injured list, I'd be doing even better. Out of roughly 11,000 people in this tournament right now, I'm currently ranked 333, which has me in the Tier 1 ranking, which will win me a card that's probably going to be a really nice card that I can upgrade my team with or utilize in a different tournament. So that is lineup #1. The lineup #2 that I have here is as follows, everybody. Not sure why we had an error there. Let's see if this pops up for us. Okay, it's not going to show up. That's fine. Either way, you can see here, Justin Verlander had a shit start, calling me surprised. Tanner Scott, Alex Bregman is finally balling out and being competent in a walk year. Adley Rutschman, of course, Brian Reynolds, Adolis Garcia, George Kirby. These are my guys here for my second tournament, and this is in an all-star tournament. All these gold cards that you see here, these are limited cards that you guys actually have to buy on the marketplace to acquire. But the reason why you do it is you enter then tournaments which give you greater chances to, say, win cash prizes, Mets ticket prizes, where we gave away tickets on the channel over the past month here just for signing up to Sora MLB, and of course entering a free tournament. Very easy to work with. Again, all your fantasy needs are covered here with our great friends at Soar MLB. So check them out today in case you guys haven't already. And good luck to everybody as you enter your weekly tournaments. Let's see. That's why I was saying, where does Alvarez bat when he comes back? That's a great question where Alvarez should bat when he comes back. And as we take a look actually at the Mets hitting here, let's do exactly that here for a moment, folks. Look, the Mets got production today for sure. They out-hit the Nationals 13-6, a 269 expected batting average. And we had, again, Starling Marte batting 5th, Vientos batting 6th. Alvarez is a guy that you can quite literally slot anywhere from 4 to 7. Anywhere in that gap from 4 to 7. I don't want Alvarez as low as 7, and I can understand arguments if you don't want him as high as 4 sometimes. But I will tell you this. I'm loving Lindor in leadoff. I say keep him there. I like Alonso higher in the order. And again, if Alonso, say, struggles mightily, then you can flip him out with someone that's hot. But given the current configuration, I say you just front load the hell out of this offense with power. What does that mean? You got Francisco Lindor 1, Alonso 2, Nimmo 3 is fine. If you want to move Nimmo higher or lower, it doesn't matter too much to me, but I wouldn't move him much more than where he's currently at. JD Martinez there, batting cleanup, I love. Of course, you got Starling Marte batting 5th. I would do the following. I would move Mark Vientos up to bat behind JDM, so back-to-back immediate power. I would put Francisco Alvarez in the 6th spot, so that way Alvi isn't too high once returning from injury. He's not, throwing the Sharks right away. However, he's right in the heart of this lineup for the most part. Move Marte slightly down, and then you work from there. So again, we got Lindor at number 1, Alonso at 2, Brandon Nimmo at 3, JDM at 4, Mark Vientos at 5, Francisco Alvarez at 6, at 7, Starling Marte, at 8, Harrison Bader, at 9, Jose Iglesias, and I'm sorry, am I not doing math? The math isn't mathing. Let's see here. What do I have wrong at the moment? Of course, take out Torrens, put in Alvarez, and that's basically all you're doing. So again, just put in Alvarez and flop him. So have Bader be your 8 hitter and Iglesias be your 9 hitter, and there you go. That is what I would go with. And if you want to know what the common theme here is, you see how I didn't mention Jeff McNeil? Because again, there's nothing to warrant Jeff McNeil getting playing time right now outside of his contract. And Jeff knows that. He'll be the first to tell you that. So in the meantime, rock Lindor, rock Alonso, rock Nimmo, rock JDM, rock Mark Vientos, rock Francisco Alvarez, rock Harrison Bader, rock Starling Marte, Harrison Bader, Jose Iglesias. I like that 1 through 9 a lot. And I have no problem with Alvarez batting 5th. I just think that's a lot of right-handed hitters. That's fine, though. I don't think that's a massive issue. I mean, that's maybe more so me. Where's the post-game song? I already played it, Josh, well earlier into the show, my man. But I'll say this. Alvarez batting 6 is not something where I'd say I want him any lower than that, 1. And 2, I don't really want him there for long. I just think it makes most sense when he, again, comes back from injury. With the way Vientos is batting, there's no reason to argue having Alvarez above Vientos per se. If anything, if you go 3 in a row in JDM, Vientos, and Alvarez, that is a tremendous amount of power there immediately. Going to put our savior Alvarez 6th in the lap. Listen, Priest, you schmuck. Just listen to me. My goodness, you guys don't understand. It's okay. 1, I'm not going to complain. If Alvarez is batting 4th game 1, okay, awesome. But all I'm saying is I would expect Alvi probably in that 5th or 6th spot once he returns. And if not, then okay. Then we'll talk about why he wasn't put in that position. But it does make plenty of sense, and that is the reason as to why that I just explained. Lindor's approach at the plate is much better in the 1 hole. It is. Yep, I saw him striking out, however, by Finnegan from a mile away on those breaking pitches or that splitty that was really down and in, especially on those heavy break pitches. Lindor struggles mightily with. Sometimes he can get contact and pull, but others, that is a kryptonite for him because they know that he is a low ball hitter, so he's going to be really hacking at those low in the zone, even if they're really completely out of it. Let's see here. I like Vientos batting behind JDM, as do I. I like that back-to-back combo. Marte has been a productive, and I'm not complaining there on the Marte front. I know that you're losing speed by moving Marte lower in the order and having JDM, Vientos, and Alvarez as a three-headed monster there. But I think the power potential is just oh so prominent to warrant it versus, say, potentially having a Marte that we know, as great as he can be at times, he can also be a massive rally killer at times too. Marte was awesome with the two-run triple today, but also have that ending double play that we saw with two on there and one out later on in the ball game. So just some things to think about there on the Alvarez front. Why should Lindor be at the top of the lineup? Because he's been batting clearly his best at the top of the lineup, so there really isn't anything to justify and warrant him moving out of the leadoff spot. And to share some further context on that, everybody, let me pull up the following numbers for you all. And again, this was prior to tonight's game, so bear that in mind. I believe so, at least. Cisco Lindor stats. And we'll go to Baseball Reference for this, everybody. Let's do this together. Okay, and let's see. I'm curious how the numbers are, because I was just on this less than a week ago, and they weren't nearly as strong as I thought they were. I knew he cooled off for a couple of games, but especially after Lindor's continuing to be hot the way that he's been, let's see how these splits are looking right now for the leadoff spot here. So I'm going to show you guys right now. Again, we are in Francisco Lindor's Baseball Reference page. So we go down here. Let's go to leading off the inning. We know about that, but I'm just talking batting order positions. Okay. Batting first, Francisco Lindor, everybody. Leading off this season, has a 304 average, has a 380 on base percentage, and has a 464 slug for 844 OPS, so 2 home runs and 10 RBIs. So the next time you ask yourself, why is Francisco Lindor batting leadoff? Here, my friends, is the answer. And Priest, you can shit on it all you want, but you can't shit on Lindor's play right now because it's statistically incorrect. Lindor, again, in 17 games started and just under 80 plate appearances, has those numbers. For some context, in 61 plate appearances, a not even 100 average and a 419 OPS, batting second this season. Batting third in 115 at-bats, 235 average, and a 697 OPS. What does this mean? Francisco Lindor is the New York Mets leadoff hitter. And there is nothing, and I mean nothing, to deviate from this at minimum for the time being. We're talking a 145 OPS plus here, which is fantastic numbers. 45% better than the average batter in baseball there. Francisco Lindor has also led the National League in WAR over the past week plus or so, and has been top 3 in that position for over the past calendar month. So again, we can sit here and rag on guys all we want, but we also have to give our flowers when things are going right. And when you have a Francisco Lindor that is batting over 300 with a roughly 850 OPS and, a current sample size of right around 70 at-bats, we will certainly take that. So shout out to Francisco Lindor for balling down the leadoff spot when we need him to. Hopefully this is something that continues not only on his front, but with the entire rest of the order, with Pete Alonso finding consistency, with WardyNYM hopefully finding more consistency, and everyone else on their mother. So that is what we greatly love to see on the Lindor front. But everybody, guys and gals, thank you all so much for chiming in and for watching. Always does mean a lot, folks. Before we get out of here, I'm going to rapid fire the Mets offensive numbers here. Again, how they're batting, their OPS on the season. And then we're going to call this one a wrap-up tonight. We'll be back live tomorrow. Again, we have a 4:05 p.m. Eastern game. So we may do a pregame show, but absolute minimum, we will do postgame tomorrow. Pregames have just been on the back burner because unless there's been good headlines, there's just been a complete lack of interest justifiably so right now, with the Mets still 9 games under 500. So really trying to factor this into how the team has been performing. Hopefully the Mets can continue to get on a roll. There's more interest and actually more of a drive and a incentive for fans to go out of their way to watch this kind of content. But in the meantime, Francisco Lindor 2 for 5 today, 232 average, 698 OPS, including the double. Pete Alonso 2 for 5, of course, with the solo shot in the ninth, 237 average, 784 OPS on the season. WardyNYM 2 for 4 today with a run scored, 222 average, 737 OPS. JD Martinez hit streak has hit 9 consecutive games, and we're looking at a 275 average and a 792 OPS. Starling Marte continues to stay hot as of late, 1 for 3 with a bases clearing. Again, this time bases clearing just with 2 guys on base, so a 2-run triple, 276 average and a 740 OPS. The Mets have hit 3 triples over the past couple of days of baseball being played. That's pretty awesome because you don't see that too often. Mark Vientos 1 for 3 today, included with the RBI sac fly, 339 average, 1,045 OPS for my starting baseman, which is what we love to see. Harrison Bader 2 for 4 with the 2-run ding nod on his belated birthday, 271 average, 690 OPS on the season. Jose Iglesias 1 for 4 that we saw today with a double. Jose batting 400 and an 876 OPS on the season. Tomasino 1 for 3 tonight, 229 average, 622 OPS. DJ Stewart 0 for 1 is pinch hit. Luis Terenzi didn't even get a chance to bat, and that is going to do it there on the offensive end. And that is also going to do it for the show. So I thank you all so much for watching, everybody. We will be back live tomorrow evening for hopefully a series sweep victory. Hopefully talking about the Mets being 8 games below 500 and not back to 10 games under, and really getting everything kick-started and ready and prepared for the 2-game set in London against the Phillies. This will do it for your boy Wardy, so have a great rest of your night, day, evening, whenever you're watching this. And as always, let's go Mets, baby.